Advantage of 3 years for Nelson. Height advantage of 6 inches, 6'3.5" to 5'9.5". Arm length advantage only 2 inches measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in a pound or two under the 154-pound limit, and both have rehydrated unofficially tonight up to 160 pounds, the middleweight limit. Let's go to Michael Buffer in the ring for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the MGM Grand Theater here in Foxwoods Resort Casino, located in the beautiful green hills of Connecticut, USA. Tonight, DeBella Entertainment and K2 Promotions are proud to present HBO Boxing After Dark, an evening of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. Sponsored by Nemiroff, Everlast, and Bravo. This first bout presented in association with Rumble Time Promotions. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring, assigned by the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation Athletic Commission, will be Peter Harry, Frank Lombardi, and Clark Sammartino. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Joey Lupino. And now 10 rounds of boxing. This is for the NABF Light Middleweight Championship. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white with blue, official weight 152 pounds. His professional record, 32 victories, including 15 knockouts, only 2 defeats. From Buenos Aires, Argentina, he's the challenger, Luciano El Principito Cuello. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing burgundy, officially weighing 153 pounds. His professional record, 20 victories, including 12 knockouts, only 1 defeat with 1 draw. From Cleveland, Ohio, USA, the reigning NABF light middleweight champion, Willie, the Great Nelson.
Yep, beautiful. It's an honor. Center of the ring. Center of the ring.
Soft in the midsection, baby.
Okay, guys, we went over the instructions in the dressing rooms, okay? And I already established the belt lines. Right here is borderline, I'm not calling that low. Right here is borderline, I'm not calling that low. Touch them up. Good luck, God bless.
If this looks like a physical mismatch, I guess it is. Willie Nelson's
Harry, you all right?
the much bigger guy, but
Right, Frankie?
Nelson has a penchant for fighting on the inside and has had to get off the deck numerous times in the past as a result.
Will, you got your mouthpiece in?
And for his part, Cuello would certainly tell you it's an experience mismatch. He's a guy with 34 pro fights who's been in with people like Chavez Jr. and Canelo Alvarez, and he would say, well, Nelson hasn't faced anywhere near the kind of opposition that I have. Interestingly, Nelson is trained by Jack Lowe, based out of Youngstown, and of course, those of you who followed the career of Kelly Pavlik a few years ago, when Pavlik was at the top of the middleweight division, will remember the familiar figure of Jack Lowe, who was Pavlik's trainer and the architect of his career.
Willie Nelson doesn't throw him as smoothly as Pavlik did, but boy, they land with force. He throws them with passion and has already raked Cuello with some shots upstairs and down.
Yeah, he's got bad intentions on the shots. I love what Jack Lowe said as the fighters came together. He said he's soft in the midsection. Let's see if he can take advantage of that tonight.
Who's hard in the midsection? I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone likes it downstairs.
Yeah, I don't care if you got a 12-pack. Nobody likes to get hit in the body, but I get what he's saying. He's saying test him down there and see what he's got. See if he's been doing his sit-ups and can.
He wants an emphasis on the body.
He just hurt Cuello with that left hook.
He wobbled Cuello with the left hook, knocked his right foot off balance, and there he hurts Cuello again. with a straight right hand.
I love the way Nelson's able to land those crooked left-hand shots through the guard of Cuello, both the hook and the uppercut.
Nelson is very relaxed, even though he's in the heat of the fire. A lot of people say stay outside, but Nelson is in the pocket, and he's going to work against Cuello right now.
Both guys want to fight in the pocket. It's kind of a mano-a-mano stare down, and Nelson is getting the better of Cuello so far.
Cuello's definitely coming up short right now.
We've seen Argentine underdogs upset the apple cart, particularly if their opponent doesn't fight the right kind of fight and gives them chances.
Well, and when you think of an Argentine who fights the way Cuello does, certainly Juan Carlos Abregu comes to mind. But Abregu has the X factor of that right hand that travels over the top and falls down on you like a building falling on top of you. Cuello doesn't seem to have that kind of wrinkle in his game.
But he is throwing a nice overhand right that
Which is good against a taller fighter.
Yeah, he's missed Willie 2 times with it, and Willie needs to be cognizant that he's trying to line him up with that overhand right.
I suspect Willie Nelson, that Jack Lowe has Willie Nelson very cognizant of the overhand right given his height. That's a punch he's going to see coming his way in his career.
Another good left hook by Willie Nelson. Not a lot of jabs thrown in this contest. Like many fighters, Willie Nelson survived a difficult childhood, ultimately finds salvation in a boxing ring. That opportunity may never have come if not for the timely intervention of a very special woman in his life.
Well, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, east side of Cleveland, Ohio. I'm the youngest of 7. We grew up in a rough area, rough neighborhood. I was raised by my sister because my mom and dad drug problem at a young age. One day, me and my brother was playing outside. I had to be around 6 years old, and my sister Rayville pulled up, and she told us to get in the car. At the time, my sister was 17 years old. She had a child of her own. She grew up with my mom and the drug problem. She was going through the same thing that she went through. I feel I owe my sister everything for her taking us in. I could be locked up behind bars. I could be caught in the streets just doing all types of crazy things, because a lot of my friends to this day died at young ages or got locked up, you know, hanging out in the streets doing nothing.
The older sister's name was Ravel, and she helped Willie Nelson to survive and prosper to such an extent that, for instance, he became his high school's valedictorian. Well, he was certainly the valedictorian of the first round here, landing 39 of 81 by CompuBox count, 30 of them power shots. He landed half his power shots in the first round. Cuello answered back 15 out of 42, but he was basically swamped by Nelson's activity in that very active first round.
Nelson has the frame to minimize risk, but he has the mentality where he just wants to hurt his guy, and it may not always work out in the best way for him, but it's going to be fun to watch him while it lasts, Andre.
Yeah, but I think him and Jack Lowe have a bigger plan. They understand that this kid has a mentality to bring it, but I think they're thinking long term, and they want to try to curb Willie's, willingness to put it all on the line for, too early. And I think he's doing a good job right now with staying within himself.
Well, Willie's one loss took place more than 2 years ago in a fight against Vincent Arroyo in Texas. He lost a majority decision over the course of 8 rounds. He was knocked down 3 times in the fight. Jack Lowe looked at the fight on videotape, said, I saw a lot of amateurish mistakes. I saw a lot of things that I thought I could correct. He invited Willie to come to Youngstown. That's when they bonded at that point. There have been 4 consecutive wins for Willie since that time.
I really like to see Nelson right now get on his jab, because Cuello is picking up the steam. He's a very experienced fighter, and he let us know that in the fighters meeting. He's trying to take this fight into deep waters, and right now he's coming on a little bit.
Yeah, Willie Nelson's going to have to learn to be a little patient. He wants to hurt his man so badly.
Only stands to reason you would slow down a little after a first round like that.
Young fighters got to remember that you got a good jab and you got height and reach like Willie Nelson. Use it. You can beat a fighter up and set him up for a knockout, but sometimes that's not that gets boring to a young fighter. They want to let both hands go too early.
4 years ago, Cuello went to Mexico to try Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., lost a very close decision over the course of 10 rounds. A year and a half later, he decided to go back to Mexico to try Saul Canelo Alvarez, and in that case, he got beaten up en route to a 6th round TKO for Alvarez. He said to us yesterday, as far as he was concerned, Alvarez was by far the more difficult opponent. Felt as though if his fight with Chavez Jr. had been in Argentina, he'd have been the winner.
Let's go. You good? How are you feeling? Good? Good. You've got it well. It's no problem. But Lucho, you got to throw. You got to avoid the punch and throw. Why are you letting him throw so much? We're in the United States, dude. We're not going to give you any favors here. Okay? Okay. You all right? Good with that? Close up.
Cierra los ojos. Eso es, cierra los ojos.
Put it together, all right? Deep breaths. How's the wind? Feel good? Great, great. It's a walk in the park, Will. So all you got to do is stay steady, just like this.
Be smart.
Just be smart, stay steady. Use your damn jab. You're too tall not to.
Time, gentlemen.
Let's go. It's fine the way you're fighting him, but keep working that right hand underneath that body and then come up with it.
Good line. Use your damn jab. You're too tall not to. Trying to get Willie Nelson to go away from his natural instinct to want to go inside and fight. CompuBox numbers in the 2nd round. Nelson dropped from 81 to 73, landed 23 of them. Cuello rose from 42 to 52, landed the same number, 15.
I like what Lowe said, too, in the corner. It's fine the way you're fighting. In other words, this guy is what he is. Some fighters enjoy boxing. Floyd Mayweather, Guillermo Rigondeaux. And some guys enjoy fighting, and Willie Nelson's joy in fighting is so obvious. But Jack Lowe knows he can't just transform him into a different kind of fighter. He can just make some adjustments.
That's the key adjustment.
Referee Joey Lupino warning Nelson to keep his punches up. And you heard Antonio Matias between rounds, Cuello's Spanish trainer, saying to him, why are you letting him throw so much? You're in the United States. Of course, I don't understand the concept of letting him throw. Willie's going to throw if he's going to throw. But obviously, the urge was for Cuello to step up the activity and make Willie Nelson be more on the defensive.
And Willie's holding his own right now. Willie Nelson is holding his own inside as the taller, longer fighter with the longer arms, but he can make it easier if he set everything up with his jab.
Sometimes you see tall fighters who are much better inside than outside. Diego Corrales, the late great Diego Corrales comes to mind. But Corrales didn't have a real long wingspan.
Yeah, he
was just tall.
For his height.
Willie Nelson, I can't remember a fighter this tall and rangy who was this effective on the inside.
Now Cuello's starting to seize the initiative here as he backs Nelson up against the ropes with a couple of body shots.
That's what Willie Nelson doesn't want to happen. It's too early for that. It's only the 3rd round.
Good left hook by Cuello inside.
And that's when you have to ask yourself, at his height, with his reach, how is he getting hit with those clean left hooks from a little guy like that?
Yeah. That short hook by Cuello hurt Nelson and backed him off a little bit. And Cuello's got nice, steady work right now.
It's been a very good last minute for Luciano Cuello, who's turning the fight around a little bit.
Nelson's cut over his right eye.
Wide swinging right lands for Cuello. He's got the initiative now as he's forced Nelson, just as a trainer asked him to do, to keep his gloves in and defend.
It's the Arroyo fight all over again all of a sudden. Or shades of it anyway.
Cuello seems to be in a nice zone right now.
Nelson tries to come back throwing punches of his own and takes another one of those roundhouse rights. And an uppercut. And a left hook. Cuello really rallying here at the end of the 3rd round. The 3rd round was just as good for Cuello as the first was for Nelson. Immediately following live boxing, stay tuned for the next installment of my show, The Fight Game, for a mid-year report on the sport of boxing. Then catch a replay of Real Sports, where we profile the #2 pick of the 2002 draft, Jay Williams, whose NBA career was derailed after one season due to a motorcycle accident.
This kid is going to jump on you. Do you understand me? Use your damn jab. All right.
Watch your heads inside, both of you.
Here. Willie, you're going to blow it, kid. You're going to fucking blow it because you're standing there instead of boxing a stupid kid.
This is where we think Willie Nelson got cut. Both heads come together right there. And I think that's, along with the left hook from Cuello, and I think that's where the cut opened up for Willie Nelson.
Could have been the head contact, could have been the left hook. Power shots in the third round. Nelson 12 out of 37. Cuello 30 out of 51. What a round for Cuello. Steve Weisfeld, how do you have it through 3?
Jim, I have it 29-28 for Nelson. The first 2 rounds were all Nelson. He landed more punches than the harder ones. In the third round, you could feel the momentum change. So after 3 rounds, I had a 2-1 Nelson.
I got you. Good job, fellas.
Nelson trying to go back to his jab and create a little distance here. Try to keep Cuello away from him a little bit.
There's a tendency, I think, sometimes you see a tall, lanky fighter get hit, and the assumption is always that he's hurt, maybe sometimes worse than he is. But I thought there were 3 different shots that had Nelson a little shaky last round, 2 left hooks and a right hand, Andre.
Yeah, I agree. And Nelson, he took him, bit down, and came right back. But Cuello's putting a lot of pressure on Nelson right now.
There's that roundhouse right again. That time it did look like an abrigo right. Straight up and over.
That's what he's trying to line the taller Nelson up with. That's the punch that he wants to try to end this fight with. Overhand right.
Even here where Nelson's leaning against him, Andre, he has a shorter guy on the ropes. He doesn't need to fight from that distance.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Watch your heads.
It's unnecessary. I mean, he's got the reach. You can do this on the other side of five rounds down the back stretch. But right now, everybody's fresh, and Nelson's at a disadvantage right now if he fights like that.
So it's not necessarily just fighting inside, it's knowing when to fight inside.
Absolutely. I love the mentality from Nelson. I love the attitude, but you got to know when to hold him and when to fold him. But Cuello, steady pressure on the taller Nelson.
Step back. Step back. Step back. Step two.
Fourth round fought at a slower pace than its 3 predecessors. Nelson succeeding at least in keeping some space between himself and Cuello much of the time. Lead right hand over the top for Nelson. Lands and gets away.
Push him, Will.
Nelson supported by his family members from the east side of Cleveland, his wife Donicia and his sister Rabiel. In the opposite order, Rabiel on the left, Donicia on the right. Smiling for our cameras at ringside.
Nice deep breath. Come on. Take a deep breath, Will. How you feel? How's the hand? Good. Listen to me. All right. Willie, you got to double that jab, okay? I don't give a fuck if you box this kid for the next 6 rounds, but you got to double that jab, okay? Bring the right hand behind it. Everything good to go?
Good.
More water.
Muy bien, Lucho.
Very nice,
Pero
Lucho.
este asalto lo hemos pasado, ¿sabes? Le hemos perdido.
But Lucho, we lost this round because we were dumb. We got to work, Lucho. Every time you hurt him, you're hurting. Every time you hit him, you're hurting him. But you got to throw.
Both corners working over the right eyes of their fighters. Nelson is cut for what our records say is the first time in 6 years since 2007. He has the excellent Danny Milano in his corner working on the cut. Cuello landed 34 punches in the third round, only threw 31 punches in the fourth round. So if it was Nelson's goal to slow down the pace of the fight and keep some distance between himself and Cuello, he managed to do that in the fourth round.
Cuello doing some very good work to start this round. I like what Jack Lowe did in the corner. Again, you know who he reminded me of his corner work is the late great Emmanuel Stewart. A couple rounds ago, he said, I want to see the jab, and he kept it about the jab. Then he saw the jab. Okay, now I want to see the double jab and put a right hand behind it. He's keeping it simple and waiting till he sees what he's asking for before he goes to the next step. Which is
also told him, I don't care if you box him for the next 6 rounds. Implicit in that is, I don't want to see you fighting him in a phone booth for the next 6 rounds.
That's the sign of a good coach, a coach that can give 1 or 2 key instructions and not overwhelm a fighter's mind in between a minute break in the corner.
Willie seems to have heard it and inculcated what Lowe has told him. Still don't see the double jabs, though. He's throwing one at a time.
That's partly because he likes to do everything with force. He doesn't just flick out a jab. He wants it to shoot through the guard and land hard, and it's harder to double up that way.
For Cuello, he has to keep doing what he's doing. Steady, steady pressure and let his hands go in these moments right here. And for Nelson, he's got to make it very hard for the shorter Cuello to come in. He needs to let Cuello know if you come in here, you're going to take some punishment to do it.
At this distance, there's no way Luciano Cuello should be able to beat Willie Nelson. Cuello must cut down the distance and get inside where he was the first couple of rounds.
Well, and that's Jack Lowe's point. If he keeps him at bay with the jab, that's very difficult to do.
And it's not that Nelson can't work inside, but work and don't give him anything in return. Get your work off inside like that and step off. Then back on the jab.
That right hand to the body has been good for Nelson this round.
So what Nelson's doing now is not nearly as spectacular as what he did the first couple of rounds, but it's much smarter. Both in terms of winning the fight here and in terms of lengthening his career.
I think anytime you can hit and make your opponent miss, it's a beautiful sequence and it's a beautiful night.
Particularly when you have the temperament of a fighter, because the fans will eventually get their money's worth.
Now here's where Cuello wants to fight, and he gets in some leather before the round comes to an end. Meanwhile, looking ahead to the main event, there's Gennady Golovkin as he prepares in his dressing room, unbeaten so far, 13 consecutive knockouts, highest knockout percentage of any title holder in the sport, going against a guy who can legitimately claim to have a much tougher professional dossier of opponents up to this point, better professional experience, and coming off of some very interesting fights in the past few years. Golovkin versus Macklin later on tonight.
You got to throw. You got to throw that right hand. Hurt him. The right hand and throw it again. You throw 3 punches. You got to. You got to do it. You got to do it now.
Everything I just kid hurting you? Then what the fuck are you doing, man? Suck this shit up and let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Watch this kid, man. 1, 2, 3, boom.
Halfway through a scheduled 10. Average punches per round, Nelson 23 of 64. Cuello 17 out of 48.
Don't hold him down, Will.
A style fight, marked differences based on space. When they're fighting at range like this, Nelson has the advantages. When they go inside, Cuello has a chance to be in the fight, although Nelson likes to fight that way. Here we go. Flurry of activity from Cuello as he gets close.
If you're Cuello's people, that's what you want to see. You don't want him looking for any particular target. Just let your hands go.
And didn't get caught with that right hand. Nelson didn't, because he was on the outside.
But Cuello is just missing that overhand right. Because Cuello's blocking that single jab from Nelson, Nelson should try to shoot one, stab him in the stomach with it, and he'll bring his hands down, and you go back to the head with the jab.
Why does Nelson wait like that, Andre, on the outside as Cuello's following?
I don't think he quite knows what he wants to do. I think he's torn between trying to slug and box, and that's the main problem right now. And again, Cuello's putting a lot of pressure on Nelson, and he's not giving him much time to think.
But if Lowe's asking for the double jab, and he hasn't,
there's the double
there
jab.
it is.
Good left hook by Nelson. Cuello keeps coming.
His problem is he can't just keep it to the jab. As soon as it lands, he wants to throw more.
There you go. Every time he throws it, he pretty much lands it. You see Cuello lost in the center of the ring, but he comes alive when Nelson stops and puts his back up against the ropes.
Building blocks for Jack Lowe and Willie Nelson. Lowe has now gotten Nelson to begin double pumping the jab. And the fight continues to progress. Tactical change through tactical change. August 6th, catch the premiere of Hard Knocks training camp with the Cincinnati Bengals. Join us for an unfiltered look at veteran head coach Marvin Lewis as he seeks to lead his Bengals to the playoffs for the 4th time in the last 5 years.
What that double jab does. Double jab, right hand hook. Double jab, right hand hook. All freaking day. Okay? Come on, baby. Quit telling me you got me and don't do it. Every time you jab, you're making it cheaper. Every time you double that jab, you got him. All right?
Don't get against the ropes. You do turn.
Yeah. Everything good? Yeah. All right, when you got to fight. Come on. We're good. We're doing good. We're okay. You just leave it.
You gotta get on it. You gotta get on it. You got nothing else to do. You gotta get on it. It's put your balls into it. Let's go, damn it. Let's go, damn it. Iron fire.
The junior middleweight average for jabs in a round is 5 of 25. Nelson in that round 16 out of 40, following Jack Lowe's instructions to throw the double jab. Steve Weisfeld, how do you have it through 6?
Jim, I think that Nelson did what he had to do in rounds 4 to 6. It wasn't exciting, but he boxed. I have it 59-55. I thought the 6th round was the closest. So with 4 rounds to go, I have Nelson up by 4 points.
Good working margin on that scorecard for Willie Nelson. Steve Weisfeld's card, unofficial, of course. He's our Boxing After Dark ringside scorer. Jack Lowe between rounds, telling Nelson, double jab, right hand, left hook. Instead, right now, he's against the ropes and taking shots from Luciano Cuello, who believes he's hurt him and chases him across the ring. And now Nelson begins to wobble as Cuello landed a series of left hooks and right crosses. Left hook to the body, right cross upstairs. Uppercut by Luciano Cuello. Nelson not throwing back. Finally lets his hands go, but once again, suddenly we're back in round 3, and Luciano Cuello is carrying the action inside against Willie Nelson.
Good work from Cuello. He's doing what he's got to do. He's landing the right type of shots to finish off Nelson, and Nelson needs to either hold or get out of there so he can clear his head.
Yeah, this time Nelson's legs really didn't look good when he staggered across the ring.
Yeah, he hit him on the temple. He threw off his equilibrium. See, boxing is not just physical, it's mental. You got to know what to do in certain circumstances. And right now, Nelson's not all the way back, and he doesn't need to stand there and slug because Cuello is trying to load up and land a big shot.
What should Nelson do, Andre?
He's got to clear his head. The kind of reach that he has, he should have that jab in this guy's face, and when he gets close, tie him up And like my father used to say, let the traffic cop come and do his job, the referee, until your head clears and you get out of the round.
Jack Lowe in the corner is apoplectic about this turn of events. And but I don't know if Willie Nelson has it in him to play safety first.
Well, he better learn quick, Jim, Max, excuse me, or this may be his last shot in a long time on HBO.
He made the fight a lot more interesting, but a lot more competitive after cruising. And as Steve Weisfeld said, well, it wasn't all that exciting, but he was winning the rounds. Suddenly, he allowed Cuello back into the fight.
He wants to be a fixture in this sport. He's got to think in there along with his physical abilities. Good left from Nelson right there.
Trading uppercut for uppercut. Decides he wants to fight back and come back inside. Good left hook for Willie Nelson. Head seems to clear as the round comes to a close.
Man, Willie, come on, baby. You all there? No, you're not. Listen to me, Willie. Listen to me, Willie. Don't make me stop this shit. Don't. Willie, you cannot keep laying your head inside. You're fighting like a little fucking kid again.
Get your stance right.
All right? Yeah. Get your stance together, man. Willie, come on, baby. Come on. Willie, you're going to blow this fucking thing.
Come on, suck it up. Breathe. Deep breath.
How's your legs?
Grab him when he grabs you like that.
Willie, stay off the ropes, man. Keep your chin out from the inside. You got 3 fucking rounds. He's coming after you.
Inside, okay?
He's coming after you, Will.
Here we see Willie Nelson with his back to the ropes where he doesn't need to be. Cuello unloading big shots, an overhand right, a left uppercut, a right uppercut, and a left to the temple, and that's the shot that hurt Willie Nelson and had him on his way.
Power shots in round 7. Nelson was 17 of 36. That's not bad. Cuello is 34 of 73. He was trying to end the fight. So now the fight is likely 1 round closer on the scorecards as we go to the 8th.
Cuello knows he can hurt Nelson now, so I know his confidence is a lot higher than he was a few rounds ago.
And that after complimenting Jack Lowe's excellent corner work early, that's where I think maybe he didn't need to panic quite so much in the corner. Willie Nelson already, it seemed, had the feeling that the walls were caving in and there was real alarm in the corner. May have been better in that situation, though obviously Lowe knows his fighter best of all, but to let Nelson know what he should be doing rather than what he shouldn't be doing.
Nelson gets caught with another winging right hand by Cuello. Takes this one pretty well, continues to fire back. Early in the round, he was working the double jab, trying to move Cuello back again. Now they're shoulder to shoulder as Cuello bangs away.
The overhand right is the shot that Cuello wants. That's the shot that he's looking for. And at this point, Nelson, boxing is out the window. He's gotten hurt. He's down on the cards. He feels like, and he's probably right, that he has to step on the gas and fight more to either stop Cuello or come back and get ahead on the judges' scorecard.
But he's ahead on the scorecard.
Or to stay ahead, let me say that.
Yeah. I mean, he shouldn't fight like he's behind on the scorecard because he definitely has lost a maximum of 2 or 3 rounds. So he's got the lead. The key is to keep it at this point. And we Good left hook by Cuello.
Yeah, we believe he has a lead, but you just don't know.
Yeah. Let's throw to Max in, Willie Nelson's corner now with Jack Lowe.
Jack around the 3rd round. Around the 3rd round, Jack, you said it's okay, you can stay inside, just work behind the jab. What changed?
I don't know. The kid's just not listening. He's fighting like a short guy again, like he did with Vincent Arroyo. You know,
Off his head.
Wasn't he doing that from the very beginning?
no, I thought he was doing okay from the beginning. And then he got behind his jab, and you know, he got caught with a shot like that. He shouldn't be this close. This kid should not be this close to him.
Why is he that close? Isn't he, you're preparing in the gym to fight at a distance?
Absolutely, absolutely. We work the whole time like that, you know, but I can't, you know, when a guy gets in there, Max, I can't tell him what the fuck to do. You know, a kid gets hit with a shot and he just goes to war, and that's what comes out.
Thanks, Jack.
8 rounds in the books. Jack Lowe will try to take Willie Nelson back to school now. Between rounds 8 and 9, immediately following live boxing. Stay tuned for the next installment of my show, The Fight Game, for a mid-year report on the sport of boxing. Then catch a replay of Real Sports for a look at the impact of a mixed martial arts fight club on war veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
What's up? Okay, thanks.
We've got 2 rounds. We've got 2 rounds, Lucho. This one and the other one. That's it. There's nothing else. Breathe deeply. Are you okay? You got to knock him out.
Come on, Willie. Suck it up for 2 fucking rounds and work. 2 rounds, Willie. 2 rounds.
Fiery Jack Lowe exhorting his charge to give us 2 more rounds. And you heard Antonio Matias telling Cuello, you've got to knock him out. CompuBox numbers in the 8th round, Nelson 34 out of 91, Cuello 25 out of 71. Every good reason for Matias to believe and to say to Cuello, you're on foreign turf, you're in the United States, you're fighting an American fighter. Don't expect the benefit of the doubt from the judges.
Get this Vaseline off his eyes. He's got a lot of Vaseline just dripping in front of his eye.
I liked what Lowe did in the corner there again, where he just exhorted him, as you mentioned, Jim, to fight on. I'd rather that than a guy tell a fighter everything he's doing wrong, you know, in a moment of crisis.
I like what Danny Milano's done in the corner, stopping the cut over Willie Nelson's right eye and helping Lowe to keep him alert and ready throughout the fight.
Willie Nelson trying to survive these last 2 rounds, and I say survive because he's not really putting pressure on Cuello. He's more or less trying to survive and just get through it as he feels like he's ahead. But Cuello putting a lot of pressure on Nelson, still looking for big shots, trying to end this fight before the distance is over.
And I'm sure that Nelson is now fighting at the distance that Jack Lowe wanted him to fight at, the distance at which they trained for the fight in the gym.
When you throw a jab with the intentions that Willie Nelson does, as you've seen a couple times this fight recently, a few seconds ago, knocks the guy halfway across the ring sometimes.
That's true, but Cuello, he's taking some big shots, big jabs, big hooks, big right hands, and he's taking all of them.
That's one of the problems with Nelson going that hard that early, is I'm sure it could be discouraging when the other guy's still standing there.
It is probably wearing him out a little bit, and he's probably feeling it down the stretch right now.
Watching Cuello, you can see why he has won all 32 fights, most of them in Argentina, other than the 2 losses to Chavez Jr. and Alvarez.
Manager Grant Elvis Phillips, Grant Gloves, everyone knows, spoke to him in the week leading up to this fight about Cuello. He said,
we're laying out to listen to Jack Lowe.
That's it, Willie. All day with this kid. Willie, come on. Step to him now.
Now Lowe talking to somebody else at ringside.
Step back. Step back.
Max, let's go back to your conversation with Grant Elvis Phillips about Luciano Cuello.
Asking him why he decided, you know, obviously you decide to handle a guy, you think there's money there. He said everyone he spoke to about Cuello said he was strong, he could hit, he was a good fighter. That no one said anything like he can't handle himself, including Canelo Alvarez, whose memory of Cuello is that he could punch.
Off his head. Break! Time!
1 round to go.
Listen, Willie. Take a swig, baby. Willie, you okay? Everything good?
It's coming after you, Will.
Listen to me.
I'm good.
All right, Willie. 1-1-2, move. 1-1-2, move. That's all you got to do with this kid. Do you understand me? Bring your hand. He's coming like a bat out of hell, Will. This kid is coming to fight you.
You need this round.
All right?
You need this round. Okay? You need this same boxing like you did. Wake up. Put your goddamn head out.
Yeah. Well, you got to fight, man.
Don't stand there and wait for change.
Yeah. Move your goddamn body. Move. Everything all right, man?
Fucking jab in his face.
Willie, are you
You
all
need
right?
this round, baby. Championship round.
You have to win this round. You got to win this round. It's close, baby. This round. You gotta use your jab. You gotta use your jab. You're gonna blow this fucking thing.
Let's go, guys. Time.
Touch him up before the
Round 10 of a scheduled 10. As we prepare for the last round, Steve Weisfeld, how do you have it through 9?
I have it 88 to 83. Big round for Cuello in round 7, but hard work pays off. And Nelson just outworked him in 8 and 9. So after 9 rounds, I have Nelson up by 5 points.
Big shots from Cuello right now.
Yeah, there was a right hand that looked like it landed slightly behind the head to start the round that looked like it shook Nelson.
Cuello's doing what he has to do. This is his first trip to the U.S., and he's showing himself strong right now.
This is the last time we saw an Argentine fighter at this level not put in, at the very least, a respectable performance.
Well, once again, Nelson's hurt. Cuello got to him with an uppercut, and there's another thunderous uppercut, and Nelson, for the moment, has lost his legs and knows enough this time to hold on.
And they're both bleeding freely over their eyes.
Nelson bleeding big time over the left eye now.
Looks like Cuello's cut over the right, but that
Brand
may be
new
Nelson's
cut.
blood.
Willie's trying to clear his head right now.
Humble enough this time to realize he was badly hurt and went into fully defensive mode. Something he didn't do back when Cuello had the same kind of rally in round 7.
Yeah, simply put, Nelson is trying to survive right now. Let the crowd boo. You got a minute and a half. You seem to be up. Get your head raised, come back, try to look better next time.
Just a matter of trying to finish the round standing up.
Can't see out of the left eye, or having trouble with that blood flowing into it. He's squinting the left eye. Nelson is.
Watch your heads.
Quite a test for young Willie Nelson.
Break! Step back, fellas.
Fighting against a really tough veteran from Argentina. Cuello came out knowing exactly what the job was at the beginning of the 10th round, and almost got it done in the opening seconds of the round.
If Nelson survives, here's where his work rate could be. We've seen it as a curse, but also a blessing. As Steve Weisfeld said, he may be up in the fight, Nelson.
Break! Step back.
Very impressed with the shots that Cuello was able to take to even be in a position in this 10th round right now. Took some heavy shots from Nelson throughout this fight.
Less than 20 seconds to go. Very little time left in which for Cuello to try to get it done, and Nelson intelligently buys time by forcing Cuello all the way across the ring. Letting his hands go, that may not be so smart. Nelson thinks he's got his legs back, and he makes it to the end of the fight. Now both corners will hold their fighter up as the blood flows in center ring.
Did Nelson do enough as the momentum was shifting and as it was dramatic, because it looked like he could be stopped at any moment? Had he done enough in enough of those rounds to win the fight?
You see Steve Weisfeld's unofficial card. 97-93 for Nelson. Steve, what about the 3 official judges who will render the decision here?
The first judge, Peter Harry, is also a partner with the Connecticut marketing firm. Peter's been a pro judge since 2008 and judged amateur for 8 years before that. He had Rodriguez Rosinski a shutout. I thought that was a little wide, but it was 100-90 across the board. Next, we have veteran Frank Lombardi. Frank was one of the judges for one of the best fights I've ever seen, Gotti Ward. He had that fight even. Frank was 4-0 as a welterweight fighter in the 1970s, and Frank's son is now on the University of Maryland boxing team. The third judge is former oral surgeon Clark Sammartino. Clark's been a pro judge for 18 years. Clark had Martinez over Beltran by 1 point. That was a tough fight to score. It turns out the 1 point deduction for a rabbit punch was the difference in that fight.
That's Rocky Martinez, not Sergio Martinez, the middleweight champion. That fight was at 130 pounds, Martinez and Beltran. Let's take a look at the uppercuts that Luciano Cuello landed in the 10th round to get Willie Nelson in trouble, and see if we can see where it was that the blood began to flow. This was early in the round. There's a thunderous left uppercut on the chin by Cuello. Apparently the left eye was already cut as the blood was beginning to drip, even as Cuello was throwing those shots. Or their heads came together at exactly that moment, causing the cut. And now Michael Buffer stands by with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at Foxwoods, we go to the scorecards. Clark Sammartino and Frank Lombardi both have it 97-93. Peter Harry scores it 96-94. All to the winner by unanimous decision. And still champion from Cleveland, Ohio, Willie the Great Nelson.
So much of the crowd disagrees with the decision or wants to, but as you saw, it conforms to our unofficial ringside scorer's estimate of what happened in the fight. And so Willie Nelson moves to 21-1-1 and looks forward to bigger things in the 154-pound weight class, but surely the Jack Lowe supervised education will continue.
It's a quirk of boxing scoring. You know, the fans saw what we all saw. If you just kind of score a schoolyard fight, Cuello won. But the way